We're right with you. The Morning Majority, 5 to 9 on 630 WMAL.
It is 8:37. You're with the Morning Majority, and you know what? If you've been to the movies of late, you go see one of these superhero movies like Iron Man or the Hulk or the X-Men. You know, all of that comes from the very creative and fertile mind of the sort of the Godfather of the comic book world, one Stan Lee. And Stan Lee joins us now on the phone. Stan, how are you? Hello, Stan?
Oh, I don't have him. He's okay. We gotta call Spider-Man in to save him or something.
I don't know what happened. Oh, well, hang on. We'll try to work it out.
He's going to be throwing out the first pitch tonight at the Nationals game.
Yeah. Hey, Stan, are you there?
Yeah, listen, could you call me on the hotel phone? I'm on a little cell phone.
Well, actually, Stan, we're on the air right now.
Oh, for goodness sake. All right, talk loud.
Got it.
All right, thank you, Stan. Hey, look, we were just talking about all of these wonderful movies that have evolved from what started out basically as comic books that you helped to develop over the years. Did you ever imagine that those little drawings that you put into a book and you sold to kids would turn into such a multi-million, maybe $1 billion industry?
Never in a million years. In the time we were writing those things, I and the artists I worked with, we would hope that the books would sell so we would keep our job and be able to pay the rent, and that was about as far as it went.
Well, Stan, you'll be at Comic-Con in Baltimore this weekend?
Right.
Is that correct? I wonder what you think about Comic-Con. Used to be sort of an underground thing, a little bit cult, sort of smaller community getting together to talk about these comic books, and now it's become so mainstream. I wonder what you think about it becoming so huge. Is there anything lost in that transition?
Well, actually, it's very funny because over the years it has changed so. When these conventions, these comic conventions started, you'd see countless children walking around looking at comic books, and occasionally a grown-up.
Right.
Because some kid was too young to come by himself, so he'd bring his mother or father. Now, you go to a Comic-Con, and it's virtually all adults. Occasionally, you see a kid because the father couldn't find a babysitter. It's changed completely.
Well, do you think that kids now aren't into comic books? Because, I mean, is that what you take out of that?
No, the kids still are. I'm exaggerating. There are still a lot of kids at the convention, but there are just as many adults. And these conventions, which used to have a handful of people, now they have thousands. I mean, I guess it's because of the movies, but comics and the comic book characters have become so popular all over the world, not just in America.
You know, I would imagine that as you draw these characters and you develop these characters, that they become sort of friends of yours. I mean, you know, of the Fantastic Four, Iron Man, the Hulk, Thor, X-Men, Spider-Man, who is your personal favorite?
Well, it used to be whichever one I was writing at the moment, but I guess probably Spider-Man because he's the most popular, so I'll go with the people's choice.
And why do you think Spider-Man has become the most popular? I would argue that maybe recently the Iron Man movies, which I thought were spectacularly good movies, I thought maybe he might
the Iron Man movie was great, and Robert Downey Jr. did a sensational job playing the character. But the thing about Spider-Man and Peter Parker appealed to so many young people because they could empathize with him, because he wasn't the best-looking kid in the class. He wasn't a star athlete. He had trouble getting girls. He had all the worries and problems that any kid has. And I think that the young people who read the book, young guys, they could see themselves as Peter Parker. So there was a mutual bond between reader and character.
When you write the books, you have control, obviously, over what gets put down on a piece of paper. With the movies, I'm wondering, have you been happy with the way they come across on the screen? Has it worked out to your liking?
Oh, mostly, yeah. Yeah, they do a wonderful job. They take these characters that are just little comic book characters, they make them bigger than life. They have all these wonderful special effects, And they do the kind of movies that people talk about. I mean, that they argue about. Some people say, well, I don't think the X-Men was as good as the Fantastic Four, or I don't think Daredevil was as good as, or I think that this X-Men was better than that X-Men, or so-and-so should have played Spider-Man instead of so-and-so. But that's great when people are that involved with the characters and they talk about them and they argue about them.
All right, you're going to throw out the first pitch at the Nationals game tonight. Are you prepared to do that? Have you been practicing? Can you make it the 60 feet?
You know, I haven't had time to practice. I won't practice probably until I get there. And if it looks like it's too difficult, are you allowed to roll the ball?
Sure. You're Stan Lee.
You can do whatever you want to do,
whatever
Stan.
you want.
No, I'm really not worried. And I pitched when I was in high school, and I was pretty good at it, and I'm sure I can't have forgotten everything now. In fact, I can't wait to do it. I'll probably throw a perfect strike.
There you
and
go.
they'll try to get me on the team.
Well, if there's any man who can channel superpowers, it would be Stan Lee.
And that brings me to my last question. I've always wanted to ask you this question. If you could have any of the superpowers that you have given to the various characters that you have developed, what superpower does Stan Lee want to have?
Well, the one that I would want to have, I've never given to any character. But I think the best power you could ever have would be good luck. Because if you're lucky, then everything falls into place. You're fighting a villain, you'd win. You want to solve a crime, you'll do it. I mean, you're lucky. Everything would be good. So maybe the next superhero I write will just be a lucky guy.
Luckman.
I like it.
All right. Stan Lee, legendary developer of some of the greatest characters ever in the history of comic books and now major motion pictures. It's good to have you here on the Morning Majority.
Oh, it was great talking